was wrong. You understand? And that's how Yah said we can't be that way. He condemns that. And he lets us know he wanted us to remember this always, forever. He said, remember what I did unto Mary. He said, at last, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us. Lay not the what upon us? Sin. Now, if Yahweh color doesn't matter, then why did everybody he cursed, he turned white? Why can't we read, because you have done this, you and your family will be black, and they will be black as a coal? Then we can say, well, he ain't talking about us, I don't look like a coal. But then they say, well, you part of the black race, though. He never said that about a black man or a red man. Everybody he cursed, he turned them white. Read it.
And Aaron said unto Moses, alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. Let her not be as one dead, of whom the flesh is half consumed, when he cometh out of his mother's womb. And Moses cried unto Yahweh, saying, hear her now, O Elohim, I beseech thee. And Yahweh said unto Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, should she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out from the camp 7 days. And after that, let her be received in again.
In other words, she was made black again after father spit in her face, and she was put outside of the camp for 7 days. Then she was turned black. But when Aaron first looked at her, he said, lay out the sin upon us. White skin was considered sin. And Yah promised us in the book of Deuteronomy that if we don't obey the priest, that we will be made like Miriam. And he told us to always remember what he did to Miriam, because we don't want him to do the same thing to us as he did to Miriam. Also, if you go to the book of 2 Kings, the 5th chapter. 2 Kings, the 5th chapter. Everybody have 2 Kings 5? Let's read the 27th verse.
The leprosy thereof of Naaman.
The leprosy thereof of Naaman shall cleave. What does the word cleave mean? Like when a man get married, him and his wife shall cleave to one another, and they should be one flesh. He said, the leprosy thereof of Naaman shall cleave unto thee and unto thy seed forever. And he went out of his presence a leopard as white as snow. Why was he made white as snow? For disobedience. But what did he do? He said, the leprosy thereof of Naaman shall cleave unto you and to your descendants. The word seed means descendants. And he said, you will be as white as snow. Now my question is, where are those people at today? Since the Caucasians will say that the Bible is true and that the whole book is true, we want to ask them what happened to these people today. They claim that they don't know what happened to them. But I'm here to testify to you that I do know what happened to them.
Yes, sir.
I see them every day. You see them every day. And they look at themselves in the mirror every day. And then they must ask themselves why. They must ask them the same question that Rodney King asked them. Why can't we get along? If we're not the seed of the king, then why can't we get along with other people? Why do we have a propensity to subjugate and destroy every population we run in contact with. Why is this still our legacy? When will we change it? They want to prove Elesha wrong. They can't look back on history. They got to look in the future and prove me wrong, because their history has already testified that they are the people that the Most High is speaking of in the book of Genesis, the 4th chapter. They are that people. History shows that they are that people. And since the white beautiful friend of mine said that white people invented everything, let me bring something to your attention. Meant written by a brother, almost completed. There was a former member of the class until he got killed a few years ago, named Malachi. You all know as Major, or you know as Malachi. Some people know him as Major. Let me just read a couple of lines from his book so you can see. All right. The universities were forced to open by the riots of the 1960s and the 1970s. History revealed a hidden truth. As Cleopatra and Hannibal suddenly turned black, the black students learned that all civilization was started over 4,000 years ago by black people. Regardless who were the first, whether they were Egypt or Mesopotamia, they were all black. This too you will learn. In fact, the world from Africa to China were all black at one time, before the invasion of the Europeans from the caves of Europe and the Mongolians from Siberia. European history teaches us that they weren't civilized, and this is European history. It teaches us that the whites were not civilized until the 583 BC. That was 2,000 years after the pyramids were built. In our universities, it was also learned that they were all great black African kingdoms that survived until the colonialism of Africa by the invading Europeans in the 1500s AD. Yet, in spite of these new discoveries of hidden truth, nothing could overcome the illusion that the Europeans has created for over 350 years ago. Even now, the Europeans in America, they create an illusion. They chose to, such as there were riots in every major city during